So, Philip Larsen got hit last night, and there was no rage video from me at Taylor Hall. There's no rage video from me, as there was with when Kadri hit Henrik Sedin, and there's a reason. It was a clean hit. He may have got his elbow in there, but it was a clean hit. Larsen was out. It was a scary scene. Guys, when a guy is down on the ice, please stay away from him. I think back to the Steve Moore incident, and Steve Moore wasn't paralyzed from Bertuzzi's punch. It was the dog pile after. And it's one of those emotions of the moment things. Then there was Chaput and his hit on Zajac. That was less clean than Hall's. Not suspendable, but I was surprised there wasn't some sort of penalty out of that. Again, I don't care who the player is. I don't care what team he's on. I look at the play and I say, okay, player A hits player B. It looks a little, I don't like it. And you go from there. The game that's on the television in the background is Toronto and Minnesota. It's just getting started. I'm going to watch that. Devin Dubnyk right there. He is the man right now. It would be scary to think that with the year that Carey Price is having, Dubnyk could beat him for the Vezina based on current numbers. And that's where things are right now. But anyways, something else that's happened in recent days that I haven't discussed is Alex Galchenyuk being out indefinitely. This hurts the Canadians on every level. Now Price has to be perfect. He doesn't just have to be very good. He has to be perfect because Galchenyuk really is the guy who stirs the drink. He is the best Montreal Canadian player offensively that they have, and it's really not even close. I know there's Pacioretty fans out there. I know there's Gallagher fans out there. But in terms of that offense and that explosiveness, Galchenyuk's the guy. So that's not good news at all. Let's see. Let me just look through anything else that's recent because things have been so fast and furious over the last week or so. Eric Johnson being out for the Avalanche. There goes their playoff hopes. Oh, I've just loaded up the current injury list. Anaheim, Dupre's out with concussion symptoms, has been since October 13th. That's a minor issue. I'm just talking about major guys here. John Michael Lyle's out with a concussion since November 27th. Boston doesn't have any depth on defense, so that hurts. Buffalo, of course, Zach Bogosian's still out with a strained MCL. Bogosian's never really become what he was supposed to be, so And Kulikov being out with an undisclosed injury, it just means that their defense has no depth. Josh Georges is out with a fractured foot. Concussion for Eddie Lack, has him out for a while. Jordan Stahl's out for Carolina. I mean, that's big for a team that, again, doesn't have a lot of offense, especially since I was wrong about Elias Lindholm having a breakthrough season this year. I couldn't have been more wrong about that. Chicago, Corey Crawford going out, of course, with appendicitis. That led to the most heartwarming story of the week, which was a goalie being called into NHL action who really didn't have a place in the game. And it's one of those stories that, like, it happens every now and then in Vancouver. You'll see a goalie comes down with an ailment on the day of a game, and then they'll bring in a goalie from UBC or UVic, wherever. And it's always a nice story. And I think the best part of the story is that Joel Quenneville said that if he'd had an opportunity to put him in for a minute, he would have put the goalie in for like a minute, just so he would have been on the ice during an actual NHL game, just to make it all official. And I think that's pretty amazing, and it says a lot about the kind of coach that Joel Quenneville is. He is one coach that I've never heard really a bad thing said about. The only people who seem to dislike Quenneville are fans of teams that are losing to Quenneville. Okay, why did that refresh? I didn't tell it to refresh. Oh, it went to a specific team. That's not what I want. Da, 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 da. No, 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 no. Go back. This is so slow. Yeah, Eric Johnson's out with a broken fibula. He'll be out for a while. Of course, in Dallas, Janmark's out forever. Hemsky's out. Hoodler's been out with illness since November 2nd. Oduya, Sharp's out. These are all on the IR. And Honka. So, I mean, with Dallas kind of having problems, you can understand it when you see Janmark, Hemsky, Hoodler, Oduya, and Sharp all injured because it really puts a strain on their team. Detroit, Franzen's been out all year, of course. He's probably going to retire. Vitali isn't expected to play all year either. Brandon Smith, Justin Abdelkader, who's training MCL. It's a lot of injuries here. I'm just reading through the big ones. Of course, people mention right away Brandon Davidson's, been out again. Now Mark Fain's out with an undisclosed injury to join Gryba and Nurse. Panthers, of course, Huberdeau's been out all year. Marchessault is day-to-day with a lower body injury. The day-to-day ones, it's funny how those can start getting a little bigger. Carey Price was day-to-day, and then all of a sudden it was, he may not be back for a while, and then his season was basically done last year. Petrovic is out with a broken ankle still. Quick. So Jonathan Quick still out for the Kings. Braden McNabb. Minnesota, nothing Minnesota. Montreal, of course, you got Beaulieu. Desharnais is day-to-day with a knee, but Desharnais is not the offensive powerhouse that Galchenyuk is. They say day-to-day with a knee, but it could be a while. Knees are funny that way. Nothing in Nashville. Nothing in Jersey. Islanders. Boychuk's out day-to-day with illness, so that's, yeah. Buchnevich has been out since November 12th with back spasms. Zibanejad's been out since November 20th with a broken left fibula. Personal reasons pulled Michael Grabner away from the Rangers on December 4th. And Rick Nash, Jimmy Vesey, day-to-day. And then Matt Pumple. Let's get to this story. Matt Pumple, buried in Ottawa, not playing well, goes to the Rangers, starts scoring, starts playing like he's supposed to as a first-round draft pick, and now he's got a concussion as of last night. So this is a hard luck story. Pumple is genuinely a hard luck story. In Ottawa, you've got MacArthur still out. Mathot's been out since the 29th, day-to-day. Clayson, IR with lower body injury. Lazar with a concussion on the 5th. Anderson is come and go, of course, because of taking care of his wife. Michael Neuwirth with a sprained knee. Sean Couturier with a sprained MCL. Matt Reed now is out with an upper body injury. The Penguins have been without Derek Pouliot for most of the season. The Sharks, Hurdle is out with a knee injury. Couture is day-to-day with an ankle. Nothing in St. Louis. Of course, Tampa, you have Stamkos with the torn meniscus. You have Callahan with a lower body injury. And Jason Garrison and Jonathan Drouin are out day-to-day with undisclosed injuries. And sometimes you don't disclose them because they're worse than you want to admit they are. Of course, Lupul's still out. Levo's still out for Toronto. Robida, of course, is never coming back. And Kadri has been day-to-day with illness. We're getting into flu season. Canucks. Ugliness for the Canucks in that Tanev's on the IR, Edler's on the IR, now Larsen's on the IR. Philip Larsen has not impressed me in his action so far as a Canuck. That being said, I really don't wish an injury like he suffered to anybody for any reason, and yes, that includes Ryan Kessler. for all of my joking and remarks about which players I don't like, I would never wish an injury like that on anybody. Of course, Dorsett's out. Hansen's been out for a month now. Oshie qualifies as day-to-day for the Capitals. He's been out since the 18th of November. The Jets have been without Matthias since November 1st, Armia since November 3rd, Myers since November 12th, Patan since November 27th, and Scheifele day-to-day with an undisclosed injury, and Burmistrov day-to-day with an upper body injury. The walking wounded is what the NHL is right now. And I still say a lot of these injuries are just, you've played so many games in such a small, condensed time. And when the World Cup was on, and certain people on my channel said, just enjoy it, just enjoy it. This is why I couldn't really truly enjoy it. I was concerned that with travel being more intense due to the fact that you have to squeeze more games into a smaller period of time, that we'd see more injuries. And your muscle strains, your MCLs, ACLs, your any kind of muscle tissue related, that can be a result of working out too much and working too hard. I know in professional wrestling, people can talk about whether it's fake or real. It doesn't matter. In this instance, professional wrestlers, when they're wrestling 5 nights a week, sometimes 6, and you have to do your workouts, you have to maintain that physique or you're going to be out of work. That's when muscle injuries start to happen, soft tissue stuff, tendons, and it can be really long-term injury, whether it's just a torn quad, whatever it is. Hockey players right now are going through the hockey version of that. They've been playing so many games in so few nights. There are times where I'll see a team play on the West Coast, and then 2 nights later they're on the East Coast, and I'm thinking, wow, that's, even in today's day and age where you've got, the private jets and all this stuff, it just to me seems like that's a lot of travel and not a lot of prep work for a 3-hour time change. And when you're going from West Coast to East, you're losing 3 hours, and you got to be ready and good to go. And some of your stretches, some of your day-to-day routine is going to fall by the wayside. Maybe you over prepare. I know, certainly, again, I'm going back to professional wrestling, there are guys who got hurt because they over prepared, they overtrained because they were concerned about injury, so they made an injury happen. So I don't know. And having read through that list, I can't say, oh well, this one team is they're screwed because of injury. I know Canuck fans every year. I'll hear, oh well, we're injured. Everybody's injured. Injuries are not an excuse. I don't want to be taken the wrong way here. Injuries are not an excuse, but if you're a good team with really good depth, you can absorb injuries. If you don't have really good depth, you can't absorb injuries. And where the Canucks have run into trouble over recent seasons, they've not had the depth to overcome injuries. So, there's that. Just let me know what you guys think in the comments. And is there anything that can be done? I personally am not a huge fan of game day skates. I think at the very least, just optional. Just optional. I don't see that if you're at the NHL level and you're already in peak condition, I don't see how going for a skate for half an hour and doing drills is going to make you more ready. I'm not talking about players like the minors, or if I'm in beer league, maybe to help me a little bit. But for professional hockey league players that are in fantastic condition and just played a game a couple nights ago, they're good to go. They can skip practice. They can Allen Iverson the hell out of it. And, Iverson, as funny as the whole practice thing is, he had a point then. I honestly did. I thought, you know what? He's kind of got a point. How can I make my teammates better by practicing? He's right. It came out so funny. But it's one of those things I look at with this. I say, okay, it's a shortened schedule, and it's a lot of games, not a lot of prep, and maybe they're doing game skates when they shouldn't be doing game skates. Maybe, you know, uh, I look forward to next season when there's no big to do. I think that may be part of the reason why the NHL isn't going to the Olympics, because then you're squashing everything down again. And the NHL has no intention of going to the Olympics. And I understand it. I'm going to do a video soon on why. I understand it. I kind of agree with it. I think in the end, the NHL players will end up going to the Olympics. I think they're going to have to make some concessions to get to be allowed to go to the Olympics. Right or wrong, doesn't matter. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think. Which injury is going to hurt which team the worst? Which teams are most capable of handling these injuries? And is it a freak thing, or is there something to what I'm saying about the shortened schedule? Anyways, yeah, I just figured I'd come on here and say, hey, I'm not calling for the head of Taylor Hall. Yeah, Canuck got run over, and then Zajac got run over, and it was an ugly, chippy little game. And you got to watch that. The NHL definitely needs to look at how the game is called and figure something out. And you know, it'll be decided by men who are smarter than I am and play hockey a heck of a lot more than I ever did. Alrighty. Thanks for watching. If you're just browsing through, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, and I'll talk to you all again soon.